the grinder. It's a Highland Park. It's got a wheel on the end. Actually, I've got two wheels. I'll try to dig them up. One's my buffing wheel, and the other is a sanding wheel. You've got a strip plate, and then a couple of these carbon or whatever they are grinding wheels. One's real fine, about maybe 200, 250, and then this one's probably about an 80. And then the diamond wheel, which I squeezed in the biggest size wheel I could on this. Originally it was 8 inches. I'm still putting it together. Originally it was 8 inches, and I managed to get a 10-inch in there. And then things were broken on this, so there was no shield for the saw, or it was broken. I got a little piece of it here that I just pop riveted on this metal and cut it like so to just kind of give myself a little shield for this. And somebody gave me this metal table here, and I just put a piece of plywood on it, and then just bolted it in at the bottom like so. This motor did work. Hopefully it still works. You've got 3 different pulley sizes. The motor's going to spin as fast as it does, and when the pulleys are the same size, it's going to spin slower. And when this one is here and this one is here, then you're going to be spinning slower. And then when this one is here and that one's there, it's going to be spinning quite a bit faster. It'll increase the speed. So the rotation is will be clockwise, looking at the shaft, or clockwise, going to be going this way. I marked the wheel just so I would know when I set it up. And I've got this here because this particular one you just loosen like that, and you can take the belt off, or you can see it pivots there. There's a spring right there to help pull it back. It's not a very strong spring anymore, but I just put a piece of wood in here to kind of help keep it from pushing in. I know, kind of primitive, but it works. So once I get it wired up, I'm over here wiring it right now. So the motor goes here. There's a little switch right here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to use this, but these two are the motor side, and then these two will be the lead. And of course, I'll put a ground wire on it too. But what happens when this is all set up right, this I can mount a rock in here, crank it down, and then this wire right here goes down through the table and comes down here underneath the table, and I can put a little bucket in here with some rocks in it and some weight, and then I don't know if I'm going to be able to use this switch, but if I get this switch down there, when it hits a certain spot, it'll push down on this switch right here. See, it's up right now, and when it's up, it's on, and then when it hits it down, then it's gonna turn off. So this will be attached to catch the bucket on the way down and trip it to shut it off. So that way, once it gets to about right here, then it shuts the trip off. It's gonna, of course, the rock's not going to be there anymore. It's just going to go like that, and it's going to trip it and shut it off. That's how it works. So we'll see if we can get that fixed up. I'm not sure if I can or not. I'm running out of cord, but anyway, we'll see you on a few minutes. So I got the motor mounted, utilizing this just to keep rain out of the little oiler right there. I've got the top 2 bolts in here, and I put this piece of wood just because sometimes this will drag on that, so a little piece of wood right here will hold that up a little bit. And drilled a hole for the cable to go through on the motor right there. This is set up, and then under here I've got the switch, and it's to a board, and then this can right here, you can see I just put weight in there, and then as it cuts the rock, it'll start to pull down this way like this, And then when it does, it will pull down, hopefully, it will pull the lever just like that. So you can see that switch right there, so I'll pull it back up. Okay, there we go. And then when the rock gets cut, it pulls it and turns it off like that with the little automatic switch. So, up, reset it. So there's my on and off switch right there, and then I can just bend this out of the way if I don't want to use it, if I just want to use it by hand. So let's see what happens here. All right. So I just got this right here for a second and plug it in. All right, turned it off. Oh, got it. All right, so the switch works, the motor works. Now I gotta try to figure out a way to hook up some water. For the saw, it's pretty easy. I just put water in this bucket right here. I've got a little valve right here for draining it for the sump of the saw. And this one, I can just put a bucket underneath it, but I've got to run something to the top here for these to spray on here. So I'll work on that next. All right, so I've been trying to come up with some fittings here to make this work, and digging through these fittings, and got a little copper pipe, got this and that and the other, and hopefully come up with something here to pipe up to that. So I'm just going to keep working on that. All right, I rigged up something here on the hose, and it's probably going to leak like a sieve. I haven't tried it yet. This water is just from when I rinsed out the dust earlier, so we'll find out. This water is not under a lot of pressure because it's just a gravity feed, but it's definitely leaking, and but it looks like it will do. So I got a little water spray there. You see, that's good, and definitely got water spray there. So all right, looks pretty good. I'll clean this up and get it ready. Here, a little hose. Got this connection here that I rigged. I didn't have to buy anything, but I spent enough time looking for it. Also, I installed the little stop here so you can just do your stones if you want to do like an 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch thick, one after another. You just set this, and then you have a way to make sure that it's all set perfect. Okay. What else? These are the drums right here, or not the drum. This is a drum. You can put a belt on that, or you can just glue a piece of sandpaper to the top. You can see I have a few different layers on there. This is leather. I just wired it on there like crazy, and it's got a piece of foam behind it. It just screws on right here onto the end, like so. So I can use that one at the end when I'm ready to polish, or I can use these. This is one I made as well. I welded a nut on the back of a big washer and drilled some holes in it, and put a piece of just cut a piece of plywood to make. So those are, you can make those if you want. It's a fine thread, I remember that much, and yeah, it's a regular thread, so that's kind of cool, and they come off pretty easy. You just hold the wheel when they get tight and jerk them off the other way. So we'll let me take these off. They might vibrate off and hit the ground. I don't want that to happen. So we'll go ahead and turn it on and see how it does here. Actually, you know what? I'll come back and I'll get a stone and we'll actually use it. That might be nice. All right, I've got everything pretty much set up here. I've got the water hooked up. I put a little plastic here just to kind of protect the motor in case I get some water overshooting while it's running. I do have a little too much water in the saw right now. I've got the gauge set up at right about a little less than 1/4 of an inch. Going to be cutting up some real pretty material here. I've got this azurite. I actually got this when I was in Israel, and so I might cut a slab off of that. And then I've got this some of this turquoise here from oops, just dropped one, from Ikita Peak. It actually looked like it might have broke too. There's a little piece of turquoise. I think there's another piece around here. I think it broke in half. Then I got this nice piece turquoise here, Ikita Peak, and some real sky blue, which is a top 10 Southwest mine, or top 10 most pretty much rare and collectible turquoise from Ikita Peak. It's in Arizona. You can't even get anything from the mine now. The mountain's actually gone. But a buddy of mine has access to the tailings that were left over, and we have picked through those a few times. He's picked through them a lot. He actually sells on eBay, and yeah, contact me. I can give you his site. He's got some really good stuff. But anyway, so we're gonna do that, and we'll see how it works. Okay, excuse me, doggies. You can see I got my apron and my safety glasses. So we're ready to go, guys. Step back, you're not gonna like this. So I got a little in piece there, just a thin little piece. Not much I can do with it, but I wanted to start off flat, see how it looks there on that side. Looks pretty good. So I don't know, probably work with this a little later. I'll put it in the vise and get it to cut a little straighter. So we'll work on some turquoise. Turquoise here. See, it's looking pretty good. right, so, you know, I just cleaned up that piece a little bit to see what it would look like. Looks pretty good. Now I can figure out if I want to cut it in half or cut it in sections or where I'm going to go from here. So got rid of some of the junk. There's a little bit of junk in there, needs to get gone. So it's just trying to figure out what's good on the stone that I can work with and then go on from there. But the main thing is I got my lapidary unit done. Got it out of the closet, got it working. Pretty excited about that. I was going to add a little bit more here. I did work on these pieces, you guys saw that, but you didn't really get to see me work on this other piece. Kind of cool. Maybe I'll put a little shine on it real quick just to show you that. But I wanted to tell you just about Radical Rocks. We are depending on subscribers and likes and sharing because we're trying to build our this community. We want to give a portion of the proceeds back to rock hounding and education and things like that, and we're making a slow start. We've earned a few dollars from our podcast, not many, just like $5 or $6, but you know, we just started. It takes time. It takes hundreds or thousands of members on the different social media such as YouTube. It takes 1,000 people. Also with Facebook, it takes 1,000 members before you can really generate anything. And then also the blog. I believe the blog has to have a certain amount of members as well, subscribing. But the podcast is making money as we speak, so we appreciate your support on that. And we'll polish this real quick and then call it an end. So you can see that's going to be a pretty cool piece right there. Nice little piece of turquoise from Ikita Peak. Probably cut that in some slices down this angle here and see what is revealed on the inside. Real nice and hard stuff, not chalky at all. Good quality, natural, untreated, unstabilized turquoise. So anyway, guys, that's it. Thank you again. Subscribe and share and all that good stuff. We appreciate your support. All right, something for my Facebook group, for my family of rock-loving rockhounds out there that love Radical Rocks. First, I cut up this nice piece here that I picked up out of Israel. You can see it's a bitrudal azurite, a nice chunk right there, and I cut 5 nice thick slabs out of that tonight. And then also I had some turquoise from Ikita Peak, which the mountain's gone now. It's in Arizona, was in Arizona, but a friend of mine has access to the tailings, and which are on a private mine. You can't really get to those. And here's one that's some turquoise with looks like quartz there. It was pretty hard. Turned out pretty nice. You can see that. I cut it pretty thick. Then this is, I thought it was turquoise, but it almost looks like a variscite. It's got some yellow in there, but this is in the same area where all the turquoise came from. So sometimes you get green. I've never seen really yellow before, but I've heard of it, so that's kind of a first. This is not super hard, but did crumble a little bit on the edges there. But yeah, that one might be worth putting a little hardness treatment on. This one was real good and hard here. That one, that's definitely some nice blue kind of robin eggs, Ikita Peak there, looking pretty good. Cut that piece. That was the part of this one right here. Just Took that sucker and cut it right in half. You can see that looks pretty good. Here's a little bitrudal bubble right here. Just popped out. This stuff is it's not super hard, but I don't know. I'm gonna try to cab it without hardening it and see how it works. Got a couple little end pieces here, little thin end pieces, maybe. Pretty decent stuff. And then there was this other piece here, turquoise. Got a lot of the matrix in it. It's good rare turquoise, but the matrix not too spectacular on some of these pieces. This one's kind of cool because it's turquoise, or I mean it's quartz. So that's kind of neat. But yeah, that one, I really dig on that. But everybody seems to be crazy about this stuff. I was in Israel. God, it's been almost, not last October, but the October before. And I picked up several different blocks of azurite, malachite, some really cool combinations. So as I cut those up, I'll share it with you. So anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. I am going to do a video and put it together. Should be ready maybe by Sunday for the just going through this if you're interested in my little lapidary unit here. That's about it, guys. Have a great weekend. Have a great Saturday, and hopefully you can get out there and cut something up really cool. Have a good night.